When was enough is enough of this? When did you finally realize in your mind that you're tired of this life and you wanted to do something better? After you left?
3 days after I got locked up. So I got locked up, so my birthday is December 6th. I got popped December 9th. By December 12th, I knew I wanted something different. My name's Trevor Turner. This is Vincent Mike Gonzalez. And this is the Free Hour. This is your hour. So let's make it count.
Yeah, my name is Vincent Mike Gonzalez. I'll be the co-host today. This is the Free Hour. Welcome to the Free Hour, everyone. Also was known as Parolee Paradise. Today I'll be interviewing the one and only Trevor Turner here. He's going to give you a little bit of insight of how he came to what he's doing now. It didn't happen overnight. It was a struggle, we all know. But if you're interested in this, stick around because it's going to be good.
So also, too, just in case y'all didn't get it yesterday, go ahead and give him your stuff again.
Oh, yeah. If you want to find me on the internet, you can find me at Chente C. Sick of Sin on Instagram. Also, Sick of Sin Records is my clothing line on Instagram. Also, you can find me on YouTube as Chente C Vision. And you can find me on TikTok, Chente C, ChenteCeee, Chente C on TikTok. And yeah, we're about to get to it right now. Okay, Trevor, tell us briefly about your early life and your circumstances you've been through.
So, I'm a little bit older. I was born in the 80s. I was born in the Valley, like San Fernando Valley, down in like Mission Hills or whatever, Granada Hills, that area. I went to high school, elementary. We left. My pops, he was working a good job and everything. I didn't really know what was going on with him and shit. My pops, he would always, come home late, all that stuff, right?
Right.
And it's just like, it's crazy because the stuff he was doing, it's just crazy how history repeats itself, right? Because we didn't know what he was doing, but he would always come home super late. He'd always be drunk and all that other stuff, right? All that, yeah, right? So, but yeah, he worked a decent job. He worked for a company called EDS. We were living in, had a pretty nice house. It was a little 2-bedroom little house. Me and my brother shared a room. Me and my little brother, we used to get along really well. We used to go on like camping trips. We used to go and, hang out with each other. And, things were good. Yeah, I didn't come from a bad childhood. I think that's one of the things that I want, people to know. Both of my parents were together. Both of my parents were there. They were present. They had their problems and they had their issues. They had their issues with, alcohol, with drugs, things like that. But I think at the end of the day, my parents were just two people who didn't have an instruction manual.
I hear you.
For what they were doing. So.
Just like anybody.
Just like anybody. And, so I'm very hesitant to say that there was like a lot of abuse in the home, but there was trauma there. There was a lot of like wondering what the fuck is going on. There was a lot of like wondering why, motherfuckers ain't coming home, wondering why like we have to go in the middle of the night to pick my pops up from downtown type shit. There was a lot of that. There was a lot of what we felt was insecurity, but then my pops, he got on. So we moved up to, right after Northridge earthquake, we moved up to.
I remember that earthquake.
Yeah, right after Northridge earthquake. Remember, it was crazy because like the freeway fell.
That was the same day Mike Tyson fell. I remember I was in LA working with my uncle that day.
Yeah.
And we just found a big bump on the freeway. We didn't really think it was that big, but when we got back to Bakersfield, we were like, man, it was all over the news. The freeway had collapsed. It was a big thing. It was like, what, 91?
Around there, yeah. It was
maybe before 89, huh?
No, I think it was after that. It was like
it was 90s, early 90s?
Yeah, early 90s, but it could even been towards like maybe the mid 90s. I'm not sure. It could have been like as late as 94. But I don't think it was after.
Nah, it might have been 92.
Could have been there, but
because I know I wasn't in high school yet.
Yeah, but I was like I was a young kid. I don't really remember a lot, but I remember that shit was scary, going through that, like, my mom was running down the hallway with my brother, and she's like, get up, you gotta get up. And I'm just like, I can't, like, I'm already awake. Like, I don't know why she would think I was asleep. But it's because I couldn't get out the bed. Like, I was
You're
getting bounced
traumatized.
around and shit. I'm like, what the? I
Yeah, I
can't
bet.
move. She's like, get your ass up. Like, I was still asleep. That's crazy. I remember that. But, yeah, like, the front of the Dillards had fell off. The freeway had fall down and everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of casualties that day.
It was a bad earthquake. It messed with a lot of people's livelihood and shit. But I think for us, my pop's company that he was working for was just like, well, if you want to go, we'll move you somewhere else. So he took it as an opportunity, which is, you know, something I feel like I learned from him. So we ended up moving to upstate New York.
That's crazy. What was it? How was that? How was the culture shock from being the Valley of LA to the East Coast? Was that something that got with you mentally, or did you like it?
So, a lot less. I was around a lot of Mexicans and Asians in the Valley.
In the Valley, yeah.
I was around a lot of Mexicans, Asians. There were more black, not as many blacks, but like still there were blacks. And up in upstate New York, no, it was all white. Pretty much all white. There was like maybe one Mexican kid, but he was like, you know,
Whitewashed.
he was white, pretty much. And but it wasn't that big of a deal, like, cause you know I was pretty good at sports.
So you fit in.
So I fit in. But I think one of the things that really helped me get through that move, because we didn't live there that long, but martial arts. So my moms and pops didn't really have the money to put us in daycare like that. And so they put us at the YMCA, and we did like a summer camp. And then it just kind of, I think it got too expensive or whatever. So we spent the next 2 summers like at the dojo. They had kind of worked out this thing with the sensei at the dojo to where they had kids our age too. So like we would hang out with their kids, but then we were like, oh no, we want to do the martial arts and stuff. So they paid, and then like we would help clean up the dojo. We would help teach classes. We would do all this stuff, and then you know we would, after everything we would still hang out with the kids, and we were all
Like a
cool.
friendship/internship type.
Kind of, yeah, but you know, like because their kid was really into the martial arts too, so we would all just like do it together, and then after we would all play together, we'd all kick it together, we would all go on trips and stuff together, and then we would clean, do classes and all that. It was cool, and so did martial arts, and that really helped me, I think, with the move. It kept me focused on stuff, on not having no friends or whatever. And then the crazy thing after that, we lived there for about 3 years, and then we moved all the way to Hong Kong.
Wow.
Moved overseas. Because like I said, my dad was working for a company called EDS.
What does that stand for?
It's electronic data systems, but they actually don't sell no software. They sell people. They sell people that know how to work on software systems.
Okay, I hear you.
So they were doing an airport in Hong Kong, and they sold my dad and his team. Like my dad didn't actually know how to do the software. He just knew how to manage the teams.
Right.
So they sent my pops over there, and
That's a big thing, yeah.
this was Hong Kong. Was like when you say culture shock, moving from LA to upstate New York.
That's Hong Kong during like the British rule?
Yeah, right before the handover, and then I think we were there for almost 1 year after the handover, just finishing up, and then we left. We came back to the States, but this was culture shock, like a motherfucker. This was culture shock.
Like how? When you got there, what you eat or what? Did you get sick, your stomach or whatever?
No, I didn't get sick, but the food was different, tastes different. It was weird. But then at the same time, they have everything that we got over here. They got McDonald's and
Right.
they have Domino's,
It's a big city,
Pizza Hut. Yeah, it's a big city. They
Metropolis.
got, KFC, got restaurants and all that stuff. So, I mean, it was cool. It was just different because now when you're talking about like diversity in cities in America, you don't have that over
No,
there.
it's just all Chinese.
It's all Chinese people. And so that was very difficult. I ended up going to a school that was made for like, people from the States. So I think there was like one other black person there, and they're from
Did you ever
Africa.
I know you're kind of big, but did you ever get bullied or did you ever any kind of like struggles or anything that try to stop you during your journey there?
Actually, yeah. So over there, yeah, this is my first experiences with bullying. This is my first experiences with the idea that Even somebody who knows how to fight, even if you have a black belt in martial arts, you're still not standing up to 7 people.
Right, exactly.
You're
Yeah,
not.
I've seen it.
They don't have to be. They don't even have to be your size either. Like 7 people smaller, 5 people smaller, 3 people smaller,
Even
4
2.
people, even 2 to a certain extent. Like you're not, like if they feel like they want to do something to you, like to a certain extent they can do
Like
something.
rat pack you, whatever,
Yeah.
like ants.
And they wouldn't take nothing from me, but they would like belittle me, call me racist shit.
Racial slurs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
In their language or in English?
In English, yeah, in English. And my thing was, I never really, I don't know, I hadn't dealt with that before.
Right.
I hadn't dealt with that because, like I said, I was good with the sports. I was good with the martial arts and stuff. And, back in the States, like people didn't just say stuff like that. Not as a kid back then. Like,
Or not to your face, at least.
well, not to your face, yeah. And so, yeah, I had that going on. I was doing really, really bad in school because, they're really far ahead of us.
Right.
So-
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, like other
Stereotypical, but it's true.
other countries are very far ahead of us. I know we like to say like, we're number 1 and all sorts of stuff. You
Nah.
go to almost any other country and
They're honest.
they're honest. Like when it comes to education, they are way, way ahead of us.
Their curriculum is way higher than ours.
Their curriculum is way higher, leaps and bounds, like almost pretty much any other country in the world. They're smarter than us. They're way ahead of us. Their learning curve is just like, it's different. The way they teach
And
everything.
the way they discipline, the way everything is a little more stricter, and
Yeah.
and it's like you're more, I don't know, just learning is you always learn. You're gonna learn faster in another country. Over here, you don't really have to. Sometimes you don't even have to go to school. You're taught. There's always loopholes around school.
Yeah. School isn't important here because, and you can't say it's because it's free, because in other countries it's free and they still see it as very important. They see the value in it. I think in the United States we don't see the value in schooling, and which is unfortunate because, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but it's unfortunate because this country has basically done a lot to make it to where they're trying to they've outsourced their physical labor,
Right.
and that they're trying to make it to where people in this country level up to their educational status so that they can move into jobs that require higher education, and the manual labor, physical labor stuff has been outsourced to other countries.
Right.
And we don't take school serious enough, so we don't see the value in it, though, even though the system is designed for all of us to get educated and go work in a spot that facilitates like other countries doing our physical labor for us. But they just value school more because they see the worth in it. We don't necessarily see the worth in it. So
That's just one point.
when I got back here to the States, I was like really.
Oh, what made you come back?
They were done with their project. out
Okay,
there.
that was it. That
It
assignment was
just
over.
That project, that was it. My mom's had shattered her ankle, got hooked on like opiates and shit out there. So it was like, it's time to go back to the States.
So how old were you when you came back?
I was like 12, 13-ish in that area.
Okay.
This is like 97,
Adolescent?
97, 98. It was like either right on the same year as the handover or the year after, which was 97, I believe.
Right.
So, that's when I came back and we came to Vegas, which is where I consider
That
my
was it.
home.
Yeah, right. That's what you're considered.
And I think, to be honest, that was probably moving to Vegas because we had an option. We had the option, me and my brother, honestly, because my dad, he was offered 2 really good spots for the company. And him and my mom, honestly, like it was a flip of a coin for them. And they came and asked me and my brother, like, hey, where do you want to move? Because to be honest, like both of these places are going to be really great for us as a family. Like what do you want to do? And my brother and me were like, well, my brother said Connecticut. That was the other choice, Connecticut.
Like, where part? Like, you don't know?
It was like in the way out in the middle of nowhere, Connecticut, kind of like we were in upstate New York. We were in Penfield near Webster.
Connecticut, like who's the boss type, nice neighborhood.
Yeah, it would have been like that, but it would have been a suburb, nothing. It would have been, nobody around type stuff, really nice house, but it would have been Connecticut. It would have been cold as shit.
Cold, yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking cold. My brother was like, no, I like that. I want to move to a big house because we've always been apartments. And the Connecticut came with a house. So it was like, no, we want to go to Connecticut.
Yard and all that.
Yards, everything. And, but nah, I was like, nah, Vegas. I want to go to Vegas. And to be honest, I think us moving to Vegas was probably the worst thing that ever happened to me in my entire life, moving to Vegas.
Why would you say that? Like, what big moment spiraled you to go down the bad path that you ended up going on?
So it was a series of moments, but moving to Vegas was the first one. So moving to Vegas, it was just like we moved to, obviously to a nicer part because my pops had been able to save money living over there. Everything's cheaper. We moved to a nicer part. I went to a nicer school, but now, I got a lot of free time because I'm doing really, really, really good in school. And I'm gravitating towards the wrong people.
Right.
Now, I say that moving to Vegas is the worst thing that happened to me because the same stuff probably would have happened to me in Connecticut too.
Yeah, there's gangsters out there.
And, and I was bored. I was bored. School wasn't a challenge no more. My parents were both at work all the time, and I just gravitated towards the wrong people. I didn't gravitate towards people in sports. I didn't have no martial arts as an outlet. I didn't have really anything else going on for myself, so I gravitated, I think, to the wrong people. And at first, I was kind of like seeing the stuff that they would do, and I was just kind of like, nah, I'm cool. But then, little by little, being alone, having no friends, having nobody, having no family around, I just kind of started gravitating towards doing the wrong shit.
Like what? What's the wrong shit?
So I started stealing. That was the first thing we would do. We would steal.
Like what, shoplifting?
Shoplift, yeah, and then steal from stores. I was like 13, and at the same time tagging.
Yeah.
Because like I couldn't really draw that good, but I could do like decent letters.
Yeah, connections and all that.
Yeah, so like, and I see people doing it on their binders and stuff, and I just thought it was cool.
Oh, that was a big thing in the 90s.
And and this is late 90s going into early 2000s and stuff. So I'm just thinking it's cool. So I'm doing it myself, and it's like I can do it pretty good. And so like I started with doing it with a tagging crew, and stealing out of stores and stuff. And to me, it's just fun.
A rush, adrenaline.
It's a rush because I was so bored. And I think that's what started my spiral, was moving to Vegas, starting with this tagging crew, and starting to steal and stuff. I think that's what started the spiral.
That was it. I had a similar. Tagging is usually the first thing. You start with that. That's like your training wheels until you get in the real car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like for me, if somebody tagged, put some letters up near ours, like it was friendly competition to me, because I didn't know. I didn't grow up and I didn't really, I wasn't super immersed in that culture. So, but when somebody crossed you out, like I knew what the fuck that meant.
Oh, that's all top.
So like I knew what it was. I knew it was disrespect. And then like we would run into these dudes, and mind you, I've been doing martial arts my entire life. I can fight. Plus I'm big. I can fight. I can hold my own. So I get known for that. I get known for being, and then the stuff that was happening at home with my pops and between my moms and pops was catching up with me too. So there was a lot of like anger, loneliness, depression, sadness that I would carry around with me all the time.
So that's how you vent doing bad.
And that's how I vent doing bad. Like getting the rush because I was bored.
I was the same way.
I needed it, and then like when I see the dudes from the other little crew or whatever, and I would just like, and they would disrespect or whatever, they would say something, and I would just get off all my my bad energy right there. And then once I did that, other people started noticing, probably the wrong people started noticing that I was with the shits or whatever, even though I came from a different background. And so it was always the type of thing with me, like some people would see that background and they would see like, oh, you just want to be a part of something, you just want to fit in, you're just this, that, whatever, and they would like try to take advantage. But certain other people knew like what I was about, and it was just like, nah, like no, he's like really with the shits. So started gangbanging and shit after
Right.
that, very soon after they tagged
Yeah,
me.
that's what it comes with. That's the next step because you already did it. You're just only so far you can go with the tagging, and you're looking for something a little more. And plus, you just want that camaraderie, and you just want something to be real. And the gang is what feels real.
Yeah, and I think to me too, because and the reason that I haven't said anything about the stuff that was going on at home is because it's still hard for me to talk about. But it's like a lot of people don't understand. Like, oh, you had both parents. How could you have felt that way?
Yeah, it still
both
hurts.
parents were there. They were both together. They didn't divorce or nothing. How could you have felt that way? Well, the thing is the reason that I say history repeats itself is because when I was 14 and I started gangbanging, I got into stealing cars. Is when I started doing drugs. Mind you, the first time I ever did cocaine, I did it with my dad.
Wow.
When I was 14. So.
How'd that come about?
Because I had already tried crystal. By this time, I'm gravitating towards the wrong people.
Before weed, you went straight to hard drugs?
I smoked weed like once or twice. I
didn't like it.
I didn't like the low.
That happens to a lot of people. Just you don't like it. You don't like it.
Yeah, like I don't like the low. I don't like feeling slow. I don't feel like mentally sluggish. I didn't like it. So, it was either two options. Either you go coke or crystal. Like if you want the up. Either you go coke or crystal. And my pops at the time, this is when I found out why he was always doing the stuff he was doing, staying out late, always coming home looking like a mess and shit. Is because he was drinking a lot and he was on coke, heavy coke.
Powder.
So this would explain why he was always moody.
Now you
this
see
would
it.
explain why he would flip his shit for no reason. This would explain why one day something is okay and then the next day it's not. Inconsistencies at the house. This would explain why, I felt alone, even though on the outside looking in, we had everything that we could ever want, right?
Right.
But me and my brother was still it was just me and my brother. It was just us. We didn't have nobody. We were alone. So one of the things that come to find out is that this is what was going on. And I found out, obviously, when I did it with him. Because he had found out that I was on the other stuff. He didn't like that, because his thing of choice was the other route.
Right.
So in an attempt to get me off of the one.
He's like, man, this is real stuff. Like, why you doing that dirty stuff?
He's like, why you doing that stuff? Try this good stuff. And, obviously it didn't work. It just made me start wanting to dabble in more.
Just made it okay.
Yeah, it just made it okay. And it just kind of threw me further down the thing, but then we would start, when I had my drug-induced mental illness start to hit me a lot, that's when his would conflict with mine.
Yeah, they're both
play off of mine. I'm coming down, he's coming down, we're both on edge about some shit.
Bumping heads.
Now I'm kicked out the house.
Oh, you little bastard, you want to?
Yeah, you little bit, you want to do this, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, that's what
you're grown now.
Yeah.
You're kind of since you want to be doing dope with me now, so you're going to treat you like a man because you're doing dope like a man. So he thought of you kind of like a man.
Yeah, he thought of me like
a man. It's just a
man.
dysfunctional family. No matter, just because your parents are still together, it was still dysfunctional.
Yeah. And so, he would see me riding around in stolen cars and just be like, man, you're bringing too much heat to the house. And I didn't understand what he meant by that until later on. He was paranoid because he was high.
Yeah.
It's he wasn't doing nothing, but he was paranoid because he was high.
You never know. You're messing up his high.
Yeah, I was messing up his high. I'm bringing stolen cars. I got the homies around, all that
trying
shit.
To chill.
And he was just trying to chill. So start living with the homies, couch surfing.
Oh, I know how that goes.
Living in the streets, doing stuff. And so, I was never the type of person who, I've been camping and stuff with my family before, but I'm not the type of person who's going to be out there in the elements like that.
I hear you.
So I developed a hustle. I see my dad always have something, always getting it, always, about something. So I developed a hustle, and my thing was always selling drugs. Either stealing cars and chopping them up or selling drugs. And once you get to a certain point in the years where you can't really steal cars like that without them finding them,
right?
Like that, because they all got GPS, they all got trackers on them.
No, yeah, they got hit.
Everything when it comes to trying to do that stuff it's non-existent now. So, with my thing, selling drugs was always a very lucrative thing. But with that comes getting locked up. With that comes getting
What was your breaking point? When did you finally get busted?
So the first time I got busted, I was actually 14.
Around the same time.
Around the same time, I got busted for possession of stolen vehicle. Got dropped down to a joyriding. They let me out.
That's my first charge.
And then, and it just went from there. I was in and out, in and out, in and out. And then I ended up going for a battery, and that's the reason I got kicked out of school. It was a battery with substantial bodily harm. They tried to say it was gang-related, and they kicked me out of school. And I think that was my breaking point, because that's when it's like I had one foot in and 1 foot out.
I hear you.
I was still going to school. I was still doing my thing. I was still okay, even though I was on the drugs. I wasn't really okay. I was on drugs and everything, and I wasn't like fully committed to that. But
Yeah, a little bit of glue left.
I had a little bit of glue because I was still in school.
Right. But when did you get kicked? So when you got kicked out of school, what happened then?
So I went to Juvie. I was in there about 6 months. And,
How was that? How was your first day there? Do you remember it?
It was cold. I remember it being cold. Our first time in Juvie, like actually coming from the back, from the holding cells to the back, because in Vegas, it's like you're in the holding cells in the front, and if it's a minor thing or if it's going to get dropped or whatever, or like they can get in touch with the right people, or you haven't been there that many times, like your family can come get you from the holding cells. They're connected to the little courtrooms and shit. But if not, you got to go through the back, and the back is a long hallway where they have cells all along the sides. And then at the end of the hallway is a day room. And so like, I remember seeing people in there, these are people you hear about or whatever, gangbanging and shit. Like,
Yeah, word gets wrong. I know
shit.
that's so-and-so and that's
so-and-so. And they in there, right? They in there, they doing their shit. They're never, never getting out, whatever. Or, they're not getting out anytime soon. They're not waiting on court no more. They're waiting to get sent off to prisons, all this other stuff. And I'm in this, my first time, it's just, I remember it being cold. That's all I remember. I remember being cold as fuck. I come out of the room, and I go and I go to sit down and watch TV, and I just remember hearing them talk shit back and forth to each other. It was a little dude, little Donnie, and there's another dude from the Gersons, and they're just talking shit back and forth to each other the whole time.
Dissing.
Just dissing each other, talking shit back and forth the whole time. Mind you, these are both killers, but Donnie's a killer. He was a killer. And they're just talking shit back and forth. I remember that being the thing, and I was like, fuck, man, where am I?
Like, where did I go wrong?
That first time, you're just like, everything is brand new. All your senses are heightened. You're like, am I safe right here? Like, is this gonna be okay? Like, what's the deal? What's going on? Then you get the food, and it's just like, what the fuck is up with this
Nasty
food?
ass shit.
And it's just like, I remember that being my first day, and I went to court, and they were like, yeah, well, it's a battery with substantial bodily harm. We're thinking about sending you up to one of these camps. Just go back there for a couple weeks, cool your jets, and we'll do your preliminary hearings and all this stuff. So they sent me back to a different unit. And I was back there in that different unit. I'm just doing my thing. And it was okay. Like Juvenile, the halls were not super bad in Vegas.
Not like here.
No, not like here. So the halls weren't super bad. You get into it with somebody, whatever. Here and there. It wasn't like...
everyday thing.
It wasn't an everyday thing. It wasn't like the county jail. It's not like the halls out here in California. It's not like that at all. But then when you get sent up to the camps, that's when it hit the fan. Thing. And so they were thinking about sending me to a camp off of the first case. And I don't really remember anything about the fighting the case process. You're not as involved.
Yeah, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing going on.
You're not as involved as Juvenile.
They don't give you no paperwork or nothing. You just go along with the ride.
You're just along with the ride. Tell people where you're from, what you're in there for, all that stuff, and that's it. And then, but I kept doing that. And it just became easier. I kept doing that, that go around. I kept doing that.
So you got out, you didn't learn your lesson?
No.
You got used to it. Like, after a while, you got used to it already.
Got used to it. It was nothing,
You became a new guy. I remember when I was in Juvenile, the first day I was like, man, this is disgusting. Like, what am I doing? Like, because I felt like I didn't belong there. But after a couple of weeks, you just get used to it, and you feel like your self-esteem goes down, and so you just go with it, and you think it's normal.
Yeah.
Just even how the staff treats you, they treat you like an animal. But they leave you in a cell. I remember I want to say my cell didn't even have a restroom. You had to ask to use the restroom. You only had a bed.
Ours was like a regular
Yeah,
jail
right.
cell. So we had, the sink, the bathroom in there. We had everything. The only thing we couldn't have in there, you couldn't have nothing in there.
Yeah.
So like no food, no utensils.
You eat right there.
couldn't have your toothbrush. You couldn't have anything in there. You could have your shoes. So like you could keep your shoes that you brought in from the street. They'd give you the little orange sweatshirt and the blue pants. The
gym shorts
or gym shorts or whatever, and then you keep the shoes that you would bring in from the street, but you couldn't bring them in the cell with you because of laces and shit. You couldn't bring your toothbrush in there.
You can make a weapon out of it.
Couldn't bring nothing in there. But yeah, and the way they treated you was like shit. I think the fucked up part about it was that like when you're talking to the other dudes in there, and like they're cool peoples. And so it's like just like
you get a bond.
You get bonds with people in there because it's like I've never met you on the street, but I meet you in here, and like I see your wave, like we're on the same wavelength mentally. Like I don't know if it's because of past traumas. I don't know if it's because of like we've been through similar stuff. I don't know if it's just because we're from the same side of things or whatever the case. But it's just like you meet people and you conversate with them for a little bit, and it's like that's what makes you get used to places.
It's kind of like you're growing up together.
Yeah, that's what makes you get used to places like jail and prison and juvenile hall. More than just like your self-esteem going down, it's because even though they try their best to treat you like an animal, I can look at the dude sitting at the chow hall table with me, and I know he's not an animal.
Right.
This dude is probably just going through the same type of shit that I'm going through.
You see the humanity in him.
I see the humanity in him, and then not only that, he's funny or he's talented.
Oh, you get in jail some of the best laughs you ever had.
Yeah. Some of the best laughs you ever had. And it's not just because you're in there trauma bonding with people. It's because they're legitimately funny people.
Right.
I think one of the things that we don't do is we don't look past, like, actions. And it's like, yeah, like some of the funniest people I've ever met are murderers.
Right.
Unfortunately.
And it's so true, yeah.
It just is what it is.
They're still human just because they did what they did, but just automatically they got that hanging over their head. And so you're always going to see that.
Yeah. You're never going to see the humanity in them.
So you get out of juvenile hall. So how long were you? So you just back and forth your whole juvenile?
Yeah, back and forth. Then I went to prison. I went to Indian Springs. I went to a boot camp near Indian Springs.
Was that an adult facility? Kind of like a YA?
It's an adult facility. It's kind of like a YOP. It's kind of like your little last chance thing.
Oh, okay.
Because if you finish it, they'll drop your felony.
Okay. And then,
but you're an adult already. But it's like your last chance, whatever.
Young adults.
And then I go to Indian Springs after that. And then I come back again. I go to
How old were you at that time?
By the time this whole little trip, because I actually I got medically discharged from the boot camp because of my knees. So like I went back to court. I went back up to Indian Springs. I went back down to court again. Went back up to High Desert. And by the time I get out of High Desert, I'm 21.
Man, that goes by quick. All those years.
It went by quick. It was about a 4-year process. I went by really quick, and then I got sent down to Mississippi.
That was from Vegas to Mississippi?
Vegas to Mississippi.
But it was all Vegas people locked up with you? Or was it?
No, I got sent down after I got out.
Oh, with your family?
By my family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How's that? You have family out there in Mississippi?
Yeah, I have family out there. So, it's one of the things, like, if you have family in the South, you might get sent down south.
Right.
If you're fucking up. And I was...
That was like a punishment.
Yeah, it wasn't a punishment. It was like...
Your last resort, they want you just to
last resort, like they're trying to help
get you away from...
Get me away from...
Get you away from this shit.
So...
yeah, I heard a lot of my brothers, they always say, I went down to the South because I was messing up out here, to Louisiana or whatever.
Louisiana,
so Mississippi, same thing.
Georgia.
Anything around there, Texas.
Anything around that area. If you got family back south, and to be honest, if I had known what I know now about mental health, And I feel like if society knew what they knew about mental health and about trauma and about adverse childhood experiences, I feel like if they would have started addressing that stuff when I went to Mississippi, like that would have actually been the move. Like that would have been a great
So
thing.
you went to Mississippi and then you were doing good for a while, or
I was doing good.
how long were you out there for?
I was only out there for like 2.5 years.
That's a cool little something.
So I was doing good.
For those 2 years, it was all good. No dope out there.
Nope. No dope. No nothing.
So
No
you just,
coke.
what were you
no-
doing? Going to school, working, or?
Going to school and working. I was
That's
going
what's
to
up.
Jackson State.
So you're in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah, I was in Jackson, Mississippi. I was going to Jackson State, but my thing, I started fucking up out there too. But like, it wasn't the same level. It's just fights here and there.
Yeah, well, just because you had that little complex, you wanted to. Well, I'm from here, and
Yeah, I'm from here. I've been to prison. Like you ain't talking to me like that. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And, you know, idiot, dumb shit.
I'm from West Coast. I'm gonna show you
Yeah, I'm
how
from West
we're
Coast.
tough.
How we do it. Blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
I hear you.
Not knowing like there's tough people everywhere.
Yeah.
It's tough motherfuckers.
You just had a little bit. It was your own pride. It was pride. That's what it was.
It's pride. Yeah.
So what was the turning point that made you leave Mississippi?
So my family had moved out to Bakersfield, California. My grandparents got sick.
Everybody moves to Bakersfield, huh?
Everybody moves to Bakersfield, yeah. And then I can't remember now if someone had got sick or it was a combination of different things because I could have stayed down there and made something happen, but the problem was, like I said, I told you I was kind of messing up a little bit. So the dean of the school, one of the dean of students was kind of like, I became a student of concern down there. And they were kind of just like, hey, we're not going to officially kick you out, but I think you should leave.
So it's not gonna follow you.
Yeah,
but
it's not going to follow you or nothing, but
Can
I
I
think
do you a
should
favor?
leave. Come back when you're ready. You see, and basically told me come back when I'm ready.
you want to grow up and act right.
Yeah, when you want to grow up and act right. Which, you know, it makes sense because now I'm ready and I'm doing really well in
Now you would-
in the
now,
academic
yeah.
environment. Like I'd have went down there and I'd have crushed it.
Oh, yeah, you would've.
now. So I get what he did and I understand what he said because I wasn't doing myself any favors down there. I wasn't doing anybody else any favors. I wasn't doing the school any favors. Like I was trying to start a gang down there. I was trying to like get like people to bring guns from one spot and drugs from another spot and like send stuff different. I was
Crazy
trying to
money
do too
schemes.
much. Yeah, money schemes.
There's that California mentality, that
Yeah.
gangster. That was that. It's always been like that. Like, oh, this is what. Oh man, you know what you do? You can take some dope out there. You know how much dope goes for? Oh, you know how much guns go for?
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of thinking like maybe I go to college and I could just do legit. Like now, how you think it? Because you weren't thinking about the consequences back then.
No consequences.
Because that was the glamorize just the glamorizing from just rap music, just from society and everything just all in one. That's how we thought. And all that. So you're back in Bakersfield. So was Bakersfield hard? Was it gangs? There's gangs here too, or what?
So I think one of the things that probably saved my life is the fact that, you know, my gang is from, even though I'm from one of the two biggest gangs, I'm a Blood, and there's a lot of Crips here in Bakersfield. One of the things that happens is it's different from like North and South, Northerners and Southerners, right? Like y'all beef just as a whole, as a collective. And to a certain extent, back in like the 2010s, it was the same with Bloods and Crips, but because there's not a lot of Bloods and Crips, there's not a lot of Bloods out here in Bakersfield.
It's more Crip on Crip.
It's more Crip on Crip. It's more like, do we beef with your neighborhood or do we beef with your hood? Do we know people from where you're from and do we not like them? And the fact that people didn't know where I was from,
So they embraced you.
they were like, as long as you're cool, as long as you're respectful, as long as you know you about your shit, we'll embrace you. So they did, and I got back into the hustle shit immediately. I got back here in 2009, and I was already on the way to prison in 2010.
Right.
Just, you know.
Yeah, California. How was it California? When you got out to California, where'd you go?
So, this is 2010. I went to Wasco. That was my reception, and I went to CRC. Went to the hotel in CRC back when it was fully GP, and I went during the N number program. So I was supposed to be a 6-month program. It ended up being 3.5 years. Went 20, because the process started 2009. 2010 got sentenced. I was on the way to prison, and I got out in at the end of 2012.
Man.
And I went to the Kennemer Center, very first time in Kennemer.
Right.
And the thing I noticed about California prisons is that it's way more racial.
Oh, you know what? You know it.
Way more racial.
It's
Way
all
more
race.
racial, but it's like also you can definitely see the reason for it because of how things are or whatever and how people are with each other out here. It's a little bit different, but
There's good and bad.
it's good and bad, yeah.
More
But,
bad.
I mean, Nevada still jumps off in Nevada. Nevada still got gangsters. Nevada still just stabbing each other up, doing all that other shit.
It's more wild and less structure.
Yeah, it's less structure to the wilding out, But it's still racial riots and all this shit. But I think the difference is that the time I was in Nevada Penitentiary was when that Nevada 13 movement had started.
Yeah.
So that was like eased up the racial tensions for us because it was a lot of like Nevada Sureños versus California Sureños stuff.
Gangs.
They were worrying about each other.
So it got off of you.
Yeah, it eased up the racial tensions for
Oh
everybody
yeah, that was a big
else.
war between. It's still going on.
It's still going on, yeah. But when I was at the high desert, it got to the point where it was a major incident, and then the California ones were shipped off somewhere else. So
They put them in the hole or whatever. Huh?
so that was it was just us, Nevada, the Nevada ones, the Paisas.
So everybody was cool.
Everybody was cool for a while. Like nothing jumped off for a
So
long
you came
time.
over here, and you're in
Came over
prison.
here.
So was it cool? Was it smooth sailing, or was there drama?
I think
Did you
it
get hooked
was-
on the dope?
No, so one of the things that I've always been able to do is even though I have like a huge prevalence towards abuse, drug abuse on the streets and substance abuse, when I'm locked up, I don't do anything.
That's a beautiful thing. Because why would you want to go to jail? And
Yeah.
people go to jail to sober up, not to mess around. I never seen why would you do that in jail?
And yeah, I never, but I mean, you see it, but like, and especially in CRC, there was a lot in CRC. CRC was a lot because this was back when it was an N number facility, so you could do a gate turn-in to CRC, and people would, knowing they had to
off
come
the
back,
streets, yeah.
they would do the gate turn-in directly at CRC. So we had stuff like it was a county jail, like coming in,
Like it was on them.
all sorts of shit.
So people were just tore up.
Yeah, people were tore up, and but thankfully I was able to avoid that.
That was a big plus. If you wouldn't have, you would have got yourself into some more shit.
Yeah, I definitely got myself in some more shit.
So you get out, and then this is your first term, you said, in California?
This was my first one in California.
So, but you ended up doing the 3 years, whatever.
Yeah.
You get out. Did you just do good for a little bit, or you went back to the dope?
No, so I did good for a bit. But I was more like a dry drunk or like a still addicted sober person. But I went to the oil fields for a while, and then after the oil fields, I actually started doing music. We
Right.
talked
Oh
about
yeah.
this.
How'd that go along?
So I was actually my brother. He made a song that went viral, and then I just kind of started doing music like with him.
Rode the wave.
Yeah, I kind of rode the wave.
What year was that?
This was like 2016
Oh, that's a big year.
or
Music.
2014. It was between 2014 and 2016.
So you started that was the whole different lane. It was kind of gangs and the music kind of went together, or did you separate yourself from gangs?
Well, see, I was able to separate myself because I'm still
You're over here.
I'm still here by myself.
So that's a
So
big
I'm
yeah.
still doing my thing, and then I'm with my bro, and he's from a completely different group. So he's Mexican, he's an outsider. So I was still able to keep it separate from the gangs and stuff. But I think one of the things that was fucked up about the music lifestyle is that it's still a hustle lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still a hustle mentality. It's still like, let me go to this town or this city and see if I can turn nothing into something. And
You got to get your name out.
that's not, coming to find out for me, that's not a very good lifestyle to live
Oh, it's not.
because it's still like criminal activity, damn near.
Yeah. It goes hand in hand.
Yeah. So, I do the music. I went everywhere off of doing that stuff. First with him, went all over the place. Then after, went all over the place. Stayed in Arizona for a little bit. We were staying in Long Beach for a little bit. Went out to Tennessee for a little bit.
No label? You never got signed with a label? It was all independent?
It was just everything kind of independent, everything going by myself. And then I got back here, and I was just like, let me learn how to do all this stuff on my own because I wasn't getting picked up by nobody. So this is where I first started at BC, and I did the commercial music program.
The first time?
And so and I learned how to record, learned how to do live sound, learned how to music business, all this stuff, and I actually kind of was able to go to work for a record label.
That's what's up.
So I was working for a record label, and I'm thinking like, all right, so boom, I got my foot in the door of the entertainment industry. I'm kind of like both sides. Like I'm doing the music and that's building. I'm working with this label that's building, and things were going well, and then COVID hit.
So now that pause it out.
Yeah.
So what you do? Jump back on what you knew best, or what?
Jump back on what I knew best.
And plus all that money was going around, or everybody had those fake checks and unemployment and all that, huh?
Yeah, money was.
I heard a lot of people.
Very easy to come by.
So that
I
you were
jumped
just
back on it.
there was so much money and people had to stay away from you, so you really had nothing to do, huh?
Yeah.
And then if you were driving around, you stood out. So that's what happened. What happened? You just you had money, so you just whatever.
I had money left over from what I was doing. I knew people who were kind of like, damn near giving it away. And
then
then
good
also,
plug.
I knew people who kind of knew my work ethic from way back before. And then I started meeting new people off the work ethic, because I hustle. When I do this stuff, I hustle. I get after it. That's all I do. It's all I focus on, which is my downfall with it. Is that there's no balance with anything else. There's no
all in.
I'm all in with it, and so that's what I was doing. I did that for some years, and
then that's when I met you. What was that? That when you say it was your birthday when you got busted or something like that?
I got busted 3 days after my birthday.
But you were like a birthday binge.
Yeah, it was a birthday binge, and they caught me. They caught me with a ghost gun, and they caught me with like 20 grams of coke.
Yeah, that's a lot. Just them two together is a lot. It's a big charge.
And so, also, mind you, I was also fighting another case. But the public defender was telling me, hey, it's COVID, a drug case, like you're gonna get like the lowest possible.
They're slapping.
They're slapping people on the wrist right now because it's COVID. This other case, it might be a little bit more complicated because the burglary, like there was somebody home. But he's like, everybody can tell this is, drug-related shit gone bad, blah, 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 blah. So we'll try to work on getting you the lowest possible. And then I had another threatening case that was like also DV-related. But it was just a threat because it was verbal abuse. It was like not taking or detracting anything away from my wrongs in it. Like, I abused the person. It was just a verbal abuse.
Yeah, you just had them scared.
Yeah, and I had them scared. So they
a terrorist threat type?
Terrorist threats. And that one was like a little bit more complicated also. Like they were more hesitant to give me the low term on everything because of that. So I ended up getting 4 years, 8 months. But even with the criminal threats, it's still technically a non-violent. So everything's non-violent.
Because nobody got hit.
Yeah. So
and they pencil whipped it to make it. At the time, they're giving people love.
Yeah, they were getting. And I got love, so I got 4 years, 8 months. But so the drugs and the burglary ran together, concurrent. And consecutive was 8 months because that's the midterm for a midterm plus something for the criminal threats.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me like you got 3 years, 8 months, or what'd you get?
4 years, 8 months.
Yeah, and it was like, but it was love though. Like the way they did it, you were gonna do a little bit of time.
It was love because when I was on the street fighting the case, they were offering way more as a plea deal, and being in custody during COVID, everything else, they ended up giving me love, and my co-defendant that I got caught with the drugs with, she got probation.
Right.
She was able to get probation.
So yeah, it's a little bit off topic, but like, where were you at in your spirituality at that time?
So, yeah, my spirituality was kind of fucked. I was like that.
Are the words for it? Like
it was fucked.
You didn't know what to believe in? But obviously, after you got that good deal, you could start getting some kind of believe in something.
Yeah. I think it was easier to believe in something, not only because of the deal, but because of what I was going through at the time.
That COVID was no joke.
COVID was no joke, you know, because I caught COVID in the county.
And then right before you were supposed to leave a long time ago, remember, you stayed there and you stayed there for, I was like, you're still here? What the?
I stayed there for a long time
That was no joke. They did you dirty. That was crazy how you guys got it.
But
they let everybody else stay with it, and then they made you guys leave. And then you had to go right there to that horrible unit next door.
Yeah, they put us in the hole next door, and they didn't come check on us, didn't give me my medication. Because, mind you, I was taking the blood pressure medication. They didn't come bring me my medication or nothing to protect the nurse. And I was just sitting there. I was in my bed, like, whimpering. Like, everything was so bad.
But everybody was bad. There was so many people breaking down at that time. Everybody broke down. I had my moments I broke down. Like, it was, because we thought, like, it was scary because we didn't know what the COVID was. We thought people were going to die. And when I would hear a family got it, because they got COVID, so automatically thought, I'm never going to see them again. When I found out, I want to tell you something, but don't say nothing. But I did actually lose a couple people to it. Like, my cousin died of COVID. Like, she died, like, on her wedding, next day of her wedding. She just went to her wedding day. Next day, she went to the hospital, said something was wrong with her. She never came out.
Yeah.
And but because people were actually, I think the first COVID was worse. Or I don't know what it was. The first COVID that the government unleashed on us, you know what I mean? For lack of words, it was stronger.
It was stronger, but this one I felt like was like a holdover from that first one because
it was a little dose of that, huh?
It almost killed me. It almost killed me and myself.
Yeah, I remember you guys were cooked. I remember I was serving child. You guys remember you guys were just.
They couldn't even get up.
Damn, I was like, yeah, man, that's great. And then just to be locked in us, because when I got COVID, they took me to the hospital. They took me to the infirmary, and they were monitoring me. And then I had to go to the real hospital because it was that bad. Cause I had high blood pressure.
Yeah.
And you had high blood pressure too, so that got you.
Yeah.
So you get through. So I mean, that was no joke. I know that. And then when was enough? When was enough is enough of this? When did you finally realize in your mind that you're tired of this life, and you wanted to do something better? After you left?
3 days after I got locked up. So I got locked up. So my birthday is December 6th. I got popped December 9th. By December 12th, I knew I wanted something different.
You wanted something better.
I wanted something different. And this is the reason why I wanted something different. Because I knew for a fact I wasn't coming home for years. But I had done the whole process so many times that it didn't bother me. And that shit shook me to my core.
Like, why am I so used to this?
Why is this so okay? Why am I so okay with this?
Yeah, I hear you.
Like, and I'm just like,
so nonchalant with it.
So nonchalant is nothing. I'm telling myself, yeah, I'm probably.
Oh, I took it. Like, people in there, I took 30.
Yeah,
I took 10.
I took 30. I got to get back. I'm coming home, and it's just like.
Even 3 is a lot for some people. For a regular person, like, wow, being a couple days with other people is a lot. You know, and for us to be happy about, I took this much, and not even worry about it.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, and when I realized that, I realized I was like, man, I need something different. You know, like, it's just another whatever. You know, it's just another risk. It's just another this. It's another consequence. It's just another day. But it's like I'm in jail, and I know I'm going to prison, and I know I'm not going to see nobody, my family.
And everybody bragging, I'm just waiting to go to prison.
Yeah.
Like everybody, like that was they're like bragging about going to prison, like not really bragging about it, but anticipating it. That was a good thing. That was the reward. Like, oh man, like, we can't wait till I get that bus. Like. How was that normal? How was that good? Like,
yeah.
Oh, you know how much the soup cost in the pen? Because the county was going for what, 150?
Fucking
150 a soup. It went up now more.
Taxing us.
And yeah, so we're just looking for them little bit of incentives. Like, you know how much the soups cost? You can use the phone all day. You get enough money, you can buy a cell phone or stuff like that. And then that was like now that I think about it, like why were we living like that? Like we're better in that. We all are. Even the lowest person is better in that.
Yeah.
But we normalize that, and we get so institutionalized that we take that as a norm, and no wonder they look at us like animals. Because look how we treat ourselves.
Treat ourselves like animals. We not only allow it, but we treat ourselves like that. We treat the people that look like us like that.
And then we confirm it the way we do the actions the stuff that's going on, especially right now. You see, it's at an all-time high. It's going wild everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's why right now is the time you don't want to go to prison. So, and then now they put the CDCR, the rehabilitation, on the CDCR. So let's rehab, let's get better. That's what we're pushing now. So let's just fast forward a little bit. You do your little term, you get out. Where'd you go? Right when you got out, who did you talk to? Who did you call?
So when I got out, they sent me an MCRP.
Okay.
So.
What is that for people that don't know what that is?
So MCRP is a male community reentry program.
That's like mandatory. You got to do it like for so much months, right? When you get out.
Yeah. So you do
your last 6 months or something like that.
The remainder of a sentence. So like I went before my full sentence was up. I went in October.
So they let you out a little early.
Yeah, I went in October of 23.
Which is a blessing.
And I was supposed to get out in March of 24, but I went in October of 23, and it's an ankle monitor spot. So you're at a place with an ankle monitor on.
So you're kind of like 1 foot, like you're still in prison because there's there's real guards there, huh?
Yeah, you're still technically in prison.
But it's but you got to leave and stuff.
After a certain amount of time, you get to leave.
You go to like welfare office and stuff, school.
Go to school, you get to work, stuff like that.
If you got a job, huh?
If you get a job, and so the first person I called was my mom.
Off top, mama.
First person I called was mom's. Hey, I'm here.
Be my clothes.
I'm doing my thing. Need clothes.
Phone.
Phone you couldn't get yet. You had to wait a certain amount of time to get a phone. And then, I just went and got an Obama phone from across the street.
Oh, yeah. There was a gang of them everywhere right there on Union.
And then I started putting into action all of the stuff that I said I was going to do.
Did you have ID when you came out?
No. We had to go to...
the welfare office?
Welfare office.
You got all that? How long did it take you to get that?
Actually, so what we did was... What was the process? So, because I think, like, in the California DMV, they have your stuff, like, in a record of you on file, so that way you don't have to always bring, like, everything when you go to get a new ID. You just got to pay. So I went there. They gave me a little voucher to get the ID from MCRP.
Oh, yeah.
So I got that. Once I got that, I went to the Social Security office.
Got a new one?
My Social Security card.
Need that.
Once I did that, I was able to start the process of, like my birth certificate and everything.
You got to do all that.
And once I did all that.
So you had to go downtown? Or did you go online?
No, I had to go online because my stuff is in LA.
Oh, in the States. So you went online, paid, you got that birth certificate?
Yeah, got the birth certificate. Then once you do that, then you have to go and what else did I have to do after that? Then you have to go do your Medi-Cal stuff. So you have to go across the street.
You got to have Medi-Cal in order to be there, huh?
And you have to get your Medi-Cal.
Everything you need, the basics.
And the basics, all that.
That's all. That's good, because a lot of people get out of prison, they don't get none of that. Oh, I don't got I know young homies that, you got your ID yet, bro? You ready to go to school? Oh, no, I haven't got it yet. Oh, and then I'll be like, what was wrong? You look sick. Oh, I'm sick, bro. I got some infection. They're like, bro, have you got your medical? Oh, no, I haven't did it yet. I gotta tell my mom, like, bro, you're gonna be 30 years old, bro. Like,
it's because one of the things that happens is that they put the R on it and they give you some therapy, they give you a couple classes, but they don't teach you how to reintegrate into life. They don't teach you the stuff that you need to do. They don't teach you how to pay a bill. They don't teach you how to put something in your name. They don't teach you how to rent an apartment. They don't teach you how to do none of that stuff.
Credit.
So imagine like somebody who's been there forever. They don't know none of this stuff.
That's dangerous for them.
And so that's one of the reasons why it's like it becomes a cycle, because you get out. And if you don't have a place that takes you and literally holds your hand.
Some people hold your hand. That's why us being peer mentors is so important. That way we can low-key hold their hand and show them. Like, that's sometimes people need that.
Yeah.
And they won't, like I said in the other podcast, is that you won't really want to hear it from your parents or your family. But if somebody else shows interest and they respect you, they're going to listen to you.
And that's one of the things I do notice about being a peer mentor up there in the Rising Scholars Program, is that a lot of these people, we are teaching how to use we're teaching people how to use a computer. We're teaching people how to navigate certain things. We're teaching people how to use their phone in a lot of times. And if you don't have that really basic stuff, if you don't have somebody holding your hand, and I know that feels belittling. But at the same time, it's a balance of it, because it's like, yeah, you're going to feel overwhelmed coming out. But you are going to have somebody say, like, no, this is how you do that. Like, no, type this.
Show me, please. Yeah.
No, you're going to have to do this. No, don't do it like that. Try it like this. because if you don't have somebody showing you, you're never going to figure out how to do it on your own.
Right. And I feel you on that. Yeah, I hear you.
So yeah, that's about time for what we got for today. Because they got to use this room.
Yeah, we gotta go. All right, then that's it for today for the free hour and Parole Paradise. Tomorrow we'll be back with the rest of this, so stay tuned.
Doses.